Right. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for coming to the session. It is the last session of the day. And my name is Dmitry Mitrofanov. I'm from Boston College. Today, I would like to present my recent research work with the title, The Impact of AI Technology on the Productivity of Gig Economy Workers. This is a joint work with my academic collaborator, Serguei Netessine, and industry collaborator, Benjamin Knight. Before I proceed, let me provide you some background and motivate the topic. The rise of the gig economy platform significantly changed the way we purchase products and services. Nowadays, it's very common for us to have a dog walked by a freelance walker, to have groceries picked by a freelance shopper, to have a ride provided by a freelance driver. The economy is expanding 3 times faster than standard US workforce. Over 50% of the US workforce is likely to participate in the gig economy by 2027. And 76% of the gig workers say that they are pretty satisfied with their choice. Therefore, this shift in our workforce economy is likely to be irreversible. But note that gig workforce is very different from the standard workforce in multiple dimensions. First of all, as I already mentioned, it is heterogeneity of the gig workers in terms of the skills, experiences, domain knowledge. We actually have very low barriers to entry, and almost everyone can participate to the gig workforce, which creates a huge challenge for online platforms that would like to provide a consistently high service to the customers. Second, know that gig workers operate with a very high degree of autonomy, and they tend to be very flexible. Therefore, they're very different from the standard from the standard workforce, when essentially workers can be supervised, micromanaged, which is not the case with gig workers. Because at the end of the day, they are independent contractors, and we cannot just force them, let's say, to adopt a particular technology. They will decide if they would like to use it and for how long they would like to use it. So that essentially motivates our research topic. Nowadays, as we already talked about it, we have widespread adoption of AI-based technology. However, there are a lot of concerns related to algorithmic bias, which can potentially amplify income inequality. In this particular context, in this particular topic, there is a concern that more experienced, let's say, tech-savvy gig workers are going to use technology more than less experienced workers. Therefore, it might even widen the gap between more experienced and less experienced shoppers that can make the service even more valuable on the platform. Therefore, at a high level, our research question is to understand whether AI-enabled technology in our context is going to standardize our service or make it even more variable. Those would be the major research questions that we would like to address in today's talk. First of all, we would like to understand if the AI technology has a positive impact on gig workers, on their productivity, and brings some extra revenue to the platform. Then we'd like to understand how the usage of this technology varies from one gig worker to another one. In other words, does this technology bring a leveling effect and standardize our service? And the last research question, in my opinion, is the most interesting, but we'll try to understand what works better if you would like our workers to adopt that technology. Is it just information sharing when we share some useful information with our workers and allows them to improve their decision making? Or we can just micromanage them and use prescriptive analytics, essentially, right? Like to let them follow a particular guidance. Good. So we are going to address those research questions based on several field experiments that we were able to run in collaboration with Instacart platform. And for the first experiment that was run from June 2022 to September 2022, we have one particular variation of our treatment when we share with our workers the location of all the items in the store that they need to pick. That technology is crowdsourced. Shoppers are able to get real-time information of all the items because company is able to track on every shopper where they pick items. Essentially, if let's say Costco reshuffles some shelves and puts items to a different shelf, you will be able to track it in real time. So ex ante, this technology is supposed to be very, very helpful. And we also have the second variation of this technology when we also optimize the optimal route in terms of how the shoppers are supposed to pick those items. And we essentially direct shoppers in a particular way so that we provide a very specific guidance. All right. In total, we have more than 17,000 of gig workers across more than 90 stores. So our work is very multidisciplinary. It's related to numerous work in computer science, operations management, information system, marketing. There are many papers that talk about adoption of AI technology and algorithm version. There are also many papers in OEM field that try to focus on managing supply side in gig economy context. And naturally, this work is related to many papers in the OEM field that try to discuss some implication of negative implications of stockouts and also TSP problem, travel assessment type of problem, which is a very, which is the mechanism that was basically, which is algorithm that was proposed in our community. So we are going to focus on the major metrics. First metric that's going to play a huge role is the refund rate, which is going to be the proxy for the quality of the service. And for the platform like Instacart, that metric is very important because it can greatly affect customer lifetime value. Then we will have pick-in time, which is going to measure the efficiency of the service on the platform, revenue and technology usage, which is essentially going to be measured as the fraction of the time the shopper looks into the map while picking the items. And let's move to the first research question, which is just average shipment effect, and we'll try to understand the overall impact of this technology on our platform. What we see over here is that, as you might expect, this technology significantly reduces the refund rate on the platform. It drives up the customer spend. However, the effect on the pick-in time is not significant, which can be explained by the fact that while technology improves the quality of the service, it takes some time for shoppers to look into the map, to try to make sense out of it, and also to adapt to this new technology. The next natural question is to understand if the impact of this technology can vary from the store to store, and technology is especially impactful in a particular context. What we find is that this technology is especially effective when it is used in stores with relatively higher refund rate, and also whenever the stores have very complex set of batches, where every batch of items consists of multiple product categories, which essentially makes sense. Basically, if it's a very simple local store, probably shoppers don't need to have this technology to optimally find all the items on the shelves. So far, we looked at the treatment as a binary outcome. Now let's focus only on the treated customers, and let's try to understand if the impact of this technology gets higher under particular instances when technology is used more often or less often. And also, we would like to understand the impact of this technology in a nonlinear way. So what we can see here is diminishing return from using this technology across both.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Clarifying question. When you say refund rate, you mean how much?
The fraction of the items in the order that was refunded. Let's say my order consists of 10 items, 2 items out of 10 were refunded. Essentially, shopper was not able to find those items and they refunded those items, right? Therefore, refund rate in this case would be 20%. Any other questions? Yeah,
is that why the consumer spend is up? Because you just find
yes, absolutely. That's the most direct effect. But also, I guess consumers overall are happier whenever refund rate goes. Refund rate is smaller, right? Like they are more likely to make more purchases moving forward. There is also a long-term effect. Customer lifetime value definitely goes up because of that. Any other questions? Good. So what we can see over here is that the optimal usage of this technology is at 30%. Ideally, we would want shoppers to look into the map and take advantage of this technology 30% of the time. But actual usage is much, much lower, which is only 5%, which is 6 times lower. So essentially, we definitely see some evidence of aversion to that technology. The next natural question is to investigate who underutilizes this technology. Is it experienced workers or less experienced workers, which will have a very significant implications. First, let me provide some model-free evidence, and probably let's focus on the rightmost panel, where I show you the histogram across all the gig workers in terms of the technology usage. And we can see that while this technology is kind of underutilized, majority of the people use it less than 5% of the time. It varies quite a bit, right? Like we see quite a huge variation. And to better understand how the usage of this technology varies across shoppers, we divide shoppers into 10 different groups in terms of first, the experience, which is measured in terms of how many batches they fulfilled so far, and in terms of the experience on the platform, in how many days they have been there. And we can see that actually there is some positive finding that a less experienced shoppers significantly use the technology significantly more than more experienced ones. And also, all shoppers are more likely to use technology when fulfilling batches in unfamiliar stores, in the stores they never visited before, which is also a very positive finding. So let's do more formal type of analysis where we can see that all of those model-free findings are confirmed. Technology usage is the highest for less experienced gig workers. Technology usage is the highest when fulfilling batches from less familiar stores. What is especially interesting over here is that technology usage increases over time, and there is some sort of momentum effect. If I was using technology more today, I'm more likely to use technology tomorrow, which kind of gives some intuition for the platform if they would like to improve the adoption. If they somehow can force shoppers to use technology intensively on a particular day, there will be some positive carryover effect. Good. So given that, we found that more experienced shoppers tend to use technology less, and less experienced shoppers use technology much more. There is some hope that essentially this technology can have some leveling effect, and they can close the gap between more experienced and less experienced shoppers. To formally investigate that, we conduct store day level type of analysis when for each store at every day, we look into interquartile difference between top 25% of the batches in terms of the refund rate and bottom 25% batches. And what we find is that indeed, when it comes to the refund rate, we are able to close the gap between less experienced and more experienced shoppers. But when it comes to the picking time, the effect is not significant, which is understandable because our average treatment effect of this technology on the picking time was not significant from the very beginning. So let me move to the last research question, when we'll try to understand two different variants of this treatment, right? As I already mentioned, we can either share the information about store layout, where we provide the location of all the items, or we can micromanage, in some sense, our gig workers and to let them follow a particular direction, right? Like the optimal direction. Contrary to the ex-ante belief, what we find is that actually information sharing works as good as prescriptive algorithm, or even better when it comes to the picking time. What we find over here is that shoppers, when they are provided a particular route of how to pick the items, they actually have lower efficiency. The picking time increases. Therefore, the high-level outcome from this analysis is that probably it's the case that most of the people, and especially gig economy workers that get used to some sort of autonomy, flexibility, they don't like to be micromanaged. They're happy to get some support tool to improve their decision making. It's great if you share some. Oh yeah, it's great if you share some information with gig workers so that they can improve decision making. However, if you micromanage them, probably they wouldn't be that happy. It can actually backfire. In the context of Instacart platform, the treatment 2 variant was actually much more expensive because at any given point of time, we need to compute the optimal route by implementing travel assessment type of problem, which is known to be NP hard, even though nowadays good approximation schemes are available.
Can you see whether they follow the route?
We actually are able to see. We have information. We have pretty detailed information about when shoppers are logging in, when shoppers logging out, when shoppers are adding items. Whenever essentially shopper adds an item, right, to the cart, they need to put it into the system, and we are able to track basically how they follow a particular route. Yeah. So to some extent, yes. So we find that shoppers in the treatment 2 group were more likely to follow that one, but not strictly, because I assume that sometimes shoppers can have extra information that we are not able to get. For example, if some particular areas around certain shelves, right, like are very congested, and they might probably like deviate slightly, but yeah, they are more likely.
And how close to optimal is the, like, you also see the route they picked in treatment 1?
In treatment 1, yes. Yes, but we didn't carefully analyze. Yes, but that's a good point. So I think I also have follow-up research to focus more closely on the deviation from the algorithm. So when the deviation is more likely to occur, maybe some fatigue might cause that deviation, or maybe some other particular features. But those are very great questions. Good. To conclude, essentially we have 2 major takeaways. Despite the huge concern of community about how AI technologies, about how recent technological development can impact inequality, right? We have quite the opposite result over here. We actually see here that despite ex-ante beliefs, this technology actually brings down and closes the gap between more experienced and less experienced shoppers. Therefore, we believe that it has positive societal implication. And as I already mentioned, probably it's very interesting to see that something more simple, some information-based type of technological solution might perform much better than a prescriptive algorithm, especially in the context of gig workers who get used to very high flexibility in their work. Thank you very much for your attention.